Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of A Taboo Life, where everyone has a story to tell. I'm your host, Drew Franks, or you could call me Frank for short. Sorry, I had a little brain fart there for a moment. The concept of this podcast is that everyone has a story to tell, and maybe these stories should be heard. So that your neighbor across the street who's really quiet, or that woman, the older woman at the grocery store who has a Grateful Dead tattoo on her wrist, or that cute little coworker that you see every day but don't have the nerve to ask out, or even that creepy guy at the gym who's been checking you out. All these people have a story to tell, and maybe some of them should be heard. Maybe not that guy at the gym. Probably stay away from him. Our guest today is J.R. Bourne. I want to thank him for it's a very serious story. He is a survivor of sudden cardiac arrest. I think I got that right. Yeah, sudden cardiac arrest. I believe he told me it was less than 10 or 8% of people survive this. I'm not gonna go into further detail because I want him to explain it in this podcast. But it's a very serious episode we're doing today. But it does have enlightening moments and some funny moments. So I want to thank you guys for listening, and here's the episode. Hi guys, I'm here with Mr. J.R. Bourne, and really excited about hearing his story. He has a really interesting one. He's been in the news a couple of times, right?
Yeah, Frank, I have.
Yeah, we're gonna go over what happened to you, and then we're gonna go over your personal life and kind of because your story is really interesting.
Well, it's unique. I mean, it's something that doesn't happen very often, and less than 10% of people live through it. So
Yeah.
when you put it in perspective like that, there's not too many of us in our world.
Right. So explain what happened.
Yeah, so I'm a 42-year-old male, healthy, and 2 years ago, I was just a nice hot day in Florida here on a Saturday morning, and about 9:30 decided I gotta get some exercise, but I don't really know. I don't know if it's a good idea to get outside, so if I do, let's at least be near the water. I can cool off and bring water with me, and so I ate breakfast, sat here on the patio. Actually went to Home Depot first and dallied around there a little bit, and so it was a little bit later than I wanted to, so I made sure I had water and a hat, and met up with my buddy down on the beach and decided to kick the soccer ball around just on the shore. And wasn't really about 3/4 speed at the time. Really wasn't going too full speed. It was, it's kind of hot, and like I said, we're both. He's actually just turned 50, but we decided that maybe we should join a league together, telling all these stories, and then maybe we should join the over 30. But then, maybe the over 40 league would make more sense based on the skills that had diminished. So we're kicking the ball, and I just kicked it away from the shore and turned back and looked towards him, and just instantly felt like really lightheaded, and immediately my hands went to my knees and I collapsed.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the lights just kind of went out. I have no idea why. And next thing I realize or I hear is a voice. I'm in kind of a semi-conscious state.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of squinting, but I can't open my eyes because it's too bright. And I hear this voice say, "We have a pulse. Oh, wait. We don't have a pulse."
Holy crap.
And then all of a sudden, I feel this ba-boom. I mean, this shock that was so strong and so powerful that my knees actually buckled to my chest. My teeth chattered for probably the next 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was just so much force had been pushed into my body. I'll never forget how strong that was. And they had put an oxygen mask on my face. And immediately when I was conscious enough to breathe, I took this just the deepest, purest breath of air that I'd ever feel. I had cardiac arrest. You know, I was 40 years old on the beach. And yeah, I had no idea what was going on at the time. It was just unreal. Yeah, I mean, I'm like, and I've told the story a few times since in some speaking things that I've said, and you know, the more that I think about it, the more I'm just like, actually, while it was happening, I was so overwhelmed that it was actually happening. My mind couldn't think anymore. Like I literally couldn't process that A, this even happened to me. B, that I think I'm okay now because I'm coherent, reasonably coherent, and C, I was just, you know, overwhelmed. So your mind just kind of is just like, I can't even put myself in the situation right now. So I just laid there and I just tried to relax. It was just, you know, it was the craziest thing that's ever happened to me, you know. And then there's the chaos of, I'm kind of coming back into consciousness. We've got people praying loudly. I'm actually, you know, we're in a pretty religious area of the world right now and very close to many churches.
This is still at the beach, right?
Yeah, no, we're still on the sand. Yeah, I mean, that was the second. So what had happened was the volunteer lifeguards of Jacksonville Beach were patrolling. My friend had, you know, called for help, and when he saw me go down, he thought I was having a seizure. He didn't know what it was. He yelled for help, and a woman was doing yoga about 200 yards away. She rushed over and she said I think she was a physician's assistant, or she knew CPR, which was, you know, honestly, no pun intended, a lifesaver because she literally, you know, kept the blood flowing in my body and into my brain, and that probably, you know, I've had neurology appointments since then, and they confirmed that is really the reason that I had no brain damage or no, you know, suffered any stroke or anything like that, because what really, the blood moving in my body and into my brain was caused from the CPR that she administered. And you know, it's just a great chain of reaction. Someone else called for help, and as I mentioned, the lifeguards who patrolled the beach, they started 10 o'clock in the morning on Saturday, and it was 10:20, so they were just getting set up. They were on their kind of patrol, maybe 500 yards away, not even 500 yards, 500 feet away really. They came bolting over. They had an AED device, which is an automated external defibrillator, for those who don't know. I know all the terms now, so this device that you see in airports and in schools and things, and hopefully we see a lot more of them going forward. But they actually had one, and they knew how to use it, and shocked me twice. And in between that's when I kind of was in semi-consciousness, and second shock, you know, brought my heart back into a regular rhythm, and it was kind of an amazing event. Really, just can't really, you know. I still talk about it, and I see myself in these situations, and I read my stories and tell people, and it's still like, you know, it's really hard to fathom that, you know, I was saved. Yeah. So yeah, that's the gist of it. I mean, I can give you the whole lowdown. I mean, literally what was amazing was that my conscious state was back with me by 5 or 10 minutes after that shock. I was, you know, carted onto a truck and, you know, brought up to be put in an ambulance. And by the time I was in the ambulance, I was talking and answering questions. I was like, yep, I know who I am. You know, I just wanted to make sure my friend, you know, was going to meet me at the hospital, because I assumed that's where I was going, and hopefully my wife, you know, he got in touch with my wife, and you know, you start thinking about those types of things about everybody else, making sure they're okay, and they know that I'm okay, or at least I think I am. But So yeah, it was kind of a surreal moment. Went to the ER, and I had one other blip of kind of what I had was called ventricular fibrillation. So my heart went into a rhythm that is so high that it just kind of cancels itself out, I guess you could say.
It went too fast, basically.
Yeah. It just went way too fast. It was probably up in the 250 range. We don't know exactly, but if I had to guess, it'd be up in that range where it just kind of shuts down, and that's what happens to your body. So the shock brought that back into a normal rhythm, and then I went into a small blip in the hospital, but really they just had medicine with them, and everything was okay there. And I remember being in the emergency room, and finally got to see my wife, and she's like, she just didn't really it was really hard to process what had happened. And I remember a doctor pushing his cart past the room, and he looked in, and he just had this somber face like, do you have any idea how lucky you are right now? Yeah. I heard you're the guy. It was like when I got to the ER, it's one of these things that you're like, I'm conscious, right? I'm kind of just like, okay, whatever. And all the nurses are kind of like this is the one. Like when they know it's coming in, I guess, like it's not your standard 80-year-old guy is not going to make it. Like he's going to be, we'll try to save him. But this is a 40-year-old person who's healthy and has, really no known history. No history really, or no, known issues. So why would this happen? And so it was kind of like this buzz. And even I, that's how conscious I was, right? That I could actually pick up on these kind of undertones from everyone in the medical world there. At the time, it was kind of like, oh, this is as crazy as I had just thought about on the beach. So you just kind of let the medical folks take over as they did. And that doctor, I remember him saying, you were so lucky. We just lost one who just was just like you, in the next room over, and that happens way more often than not. So, it's just another one where you're just like hit with another blast of holy cow, like how am I alive? Like why? And then, I think you go, and I could talk to you all day about how many things the ups and downs of the emotions of what, survivor's guilt.
Yeah.
Or, all those things continually go through my head, and I try to appease them through exercise and, mental stimulation and, family and friends and things like that. But, after the ER, I was transferred to my hospital and was there for a week and had multiple surgeries to figure out kind of why.
So you had like open heart surgery?
No, I didn't have open heart. The first thing they do when there's a cardiac arrest or a heart attack is they do a catheterization. So they go in usually through your hip, which I think was mine was through my hip. And they just kind of, they run a tube through to check to see if you have any blockage, right? Like that's number one. Normally it's somebody's got, 50 or 90% blockage in their, part of their heart, and they're, because of either history of their own or, just bad eating, whatever their habits are. They did that test and they saw no problems. So they ruled out
arteries are clean,
completely clean, which was a great sign. Even though they said, you still should eat a Mediterranean diet like we all should, lower salt and consciously wash your, saturated fats, all the things that we hear every day, which I try to, but I feel like I eat pretty well. But it's good to hear that everything was great. So, once they kind of rule that out, the best analogy I can give from a layman's term is, it's plumbing versus electric. Like think about home, so I don't have any plumbing issues, right? Like there's no clogging going on in my body in that sense. Mine's completely electrical. So then you got to get into the specialists of, what does that look like? Why does this happen? And they did some tests, EKGs and they basically found that, and ultrasounds and things, and they found that I had about a 20% scarring on I think it's the ventricular side of my heart, the bottom part of my heart, so I might be messing that up, which was something that they didn't know why I had that. They didn't know if it was family history, if that's just built up from stress, or they don't know, or was that actual scarring from the actual AED, because that does cause some pain to it does kind of fatigue the muscles, right? Because it's such a strong blast of electricity that it affects everything in your body, right? So they wanted to go in and do a test to make sure, so they went in and did a biopsy. So they actually went in through my leg, and and they took a small piece of the tissue
from the heart. Wow.
And I was actually,
oh my god,
you want to know what's crazy about that is, so I'm laying on my side during this. And
so you're awake the whole time?
Well, I was like semi-conscious, and they said, "Do you want more?"
My god.
I'm kind of like, I'm not in the medical field, but I kind of like, I'm very calm in those situations. Like if I'm on the other end, like hopefully someday I do get to save someone's life. I think I'm very calm in those situations, and blood doesn't bother me, giving blood and things. So I don't know why, but I was just kind of like, I'm trying to stay awake for this, like I was kind of jazzed up about it, like, yeah, give me something to do. And I'm like, this is kind of weird, but you're literally watching like this massive screen TV and a doctor, following, into your arteries with this, basically a little snips, just to kind of get one piece of tissue. And the woman is next to me holding the ultrasound machine so he can actually see. That's how he's seeing. And she's as close as his microphone is to my face. Like, and she realizes I'm awake, and she's like, just kind of keeps shaking her head like, that's amazing, but very much concentrating on what she has to do, because she's basically his eyes, right? Like she's trying to get him in there. And it's pretty serious, but normally it's a pretty easy procedure, but because that was on the bottom side of my heart, they had to go in like a different way and around.
Okay.
So it was a little bit more invasive and not as well known, which actually freaked my wife out, because they didn't really tell us that until about 10 minutes before the surgery. So they said, we normally do like thousands of these. It's some very minimal
Don't
chances.
worry about it.
No problem. Yeah. But we don't normally go in this way because we have to, because of where this is. And this one we've only done about 15. So, and we both looked at each other like, you wait, 15 like 100 or what? No, 15 of these in this particular way. And at that point you're like, well, what am I going to do? I'm not going to tell them no. I want to find out. If they can find out more information and they think it's the right thing to do, I trust this hospital. It's an amazing place. I'm gonna let them do it, And it's like you live through something like that. You kind of feel, well, I don't think that God's gonna take me now. Over this. Why would He let me get this far? I don't know. You just have this. I just had this like calm peace about it that I kind of have it in general now. In an everyday life, it's kind of a lucky type. It feels like a lucky type thing. You live through that, and then you think, well, when my time comes, then that's my time, and you just really have become a huge believer in everything happens for a reason. I mean, there's a path. You choose everything per day, but things happen. If things happen to you, I truly believe that for a reason. So, I mean, it has to, right? For me, it has to. There's no way, there's no way I'd be here if I didn't believe that. So, I've been trying to live my life as good as I can, and I think like yourself, I think it's your conscience, right? Someone's always talking in your head.
Yeah.
And that's always been saying to me since this happened. It's like, hey, this is the cause you were kept here for. This is something that you need to be involved in. And it's kind of an ironic situation because, at this point in my life, I really was looking for a cause. My wife works for a Wounded Warrior Project, which is a nonprofit for post 9/11 veterans, and her mom was in the Navy, so she has the military tie, and she does amazing work there, and I'm always envious of how great those people are and what they do over there, and how she gets to enjoy that every day. And just trying to figure out my cause, like where, what am I going to help with? I was looking into, I donate to, international companies for, poverty and things like that. But it's not right there. It's not right in front of you. I've looked into Big Brothers, Big Sisters, and was considering doing that.
You have to have in college. So.
Yeah. And I've heard mixed reviews about, I think it's just the experience in general, how much time you can dedicate to it.
Well, one thing I would suggest, like, anyone thinking about Big Brothers, Big Sisters, I think is to be people after college, because
into their lives,
their careers, because of you really want, from my experience, because I feel like you need, some of those kids need father figures or mother figures, and college students not going to be that. You need someone who actually lived a life and actually have the dedication and time to actually look after those kids.
Yeah, no, that's definitely which is obviously well within where I was or am. So I was considering that, and then this all just happened, and I actually kind of I brought the pads that I kept today. I remember being in the hospital, and I got
so those are the ones that
I actually saved
they used
them.
on you. Oh wow.
So I remember being in the hospital. If you want to look at them. Basically, I didn't really even know what an AED was. I mean, I think I've seen the sign in the airport and things, and you just think in your head, oh, that's just what medical people do. Someone will know how to use that, or you know what to do when that happens. But I remember thinking, so I just kind of, you're laying in the hospital, so many things popping through your mind, and one of which is, they actually forgot to wipe my back off. So for 24 hours I had sand on my back, from being on the beach in 2 different hospital beds. I was like, hey, can someone wipe me down at least so I can get the sand off my back and then the sheets and stuff. But like I said, it's first world problems. It wasn't that big a deal. But when I did look down, and I saw the pads from the AED, and it's like, wow, how easy is that? I mean, literally, if you look at it, Frank, each one gives you a picture of where it's supposed to go.
I had to get trained on those multiple times. One in college, because I worked at school gym. Worked at another gym after college. I was a police officer, so I actually had to go through that training again.
Good. Yeah,
and they purposely made those idiot proof.
Oh yeah, I know.
That's why you have the pictures and not words. Just like, here's the signs. There's 3 steps. 1, 2, 3.
It was an eye opener because I never seen anyone open one, and I thought, oh, I'm gonna shock someone. I don't know how to shock someone. Well, as you know, the machine will not shock. It will not advise a shock if the heart rhythm is in place.
And this is the one that talks, right?
Yeah, they all talk. Now, most of them talk nowadays, if not on the screen, unless it's a really old one.
Yeah.
I think 99% from what I've learned in the last 2 years, they all talk to you, and it's basically start, press on, and it'll tell you what to do. If shock is advised, it'll say, shock. And I think that's what happened with the lifeguards is I later went back after I was feeling better, and I thought, wow, I gotta say thank you to these people. You can't. What's the chances? That, I talked to the doctors in the Mayo Clinic, and they were just blown away that A, they even had an AED on the beach, and B, that they know how to use it, and it was up to code. And usually you go to and the pads are off, or I've learned since a lot of times the pads, they don't replace them, or the battery isn't there, so the device is there, but the pieces aren't all working. So they were just like, that is amazing. You need to make sure you go back and thank those people. So sure enough, the head of cardiology at Mayo Clinic tells you to go thank the lifeguards. Kind of a good idea to do so. Plus, this is a really nice guy in general, so you're like, all right, well, of course I will. And I was going to anyways, but we just went back and brought brownies. And then my friend Sarah, who is a PA, physician's assistant there at the time, she said, I have a friend who's a news reporter, and we can make this a story. You come back to thank the lifeguards after they saved your life, and we'll get it on film. And so we did this whole piece, which actually turned out really well, just for some good PR for them. And they don't get many of those type of beach incidences. Most of it's, people are drowning or in a rip current or, dehydration on the beach. But it is, the waves here on the east coast of Florida can be pretty rough. And so it's definitely it's not a pool lifeguard. I mean, you look at those kids, they look like kids, but they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And in an emergency situation like mine was, for them to be, basically like have no work or have nothing going on, you're constantly on the beach, not very busy, and then all of a sudden, okay, bam, there's someone dying.
Yeah.
He's literally dead. Bring him back to life. That's what they did. So, I mean, an 18-year-old girl who is going to graduate and probably be an amazing physician's assistant herself, if not doctor. Who knows what Sam's going to do now? But she's.
So she was still in high school.
She was a sophomore, I believe,
in
at
UCF
in college, but she was back for the summer.
Okay.
Yeah, came back. She's from Jacksonville, and her and two other guards, and then eight full guards of like a team of people just kind of came to the rescue. So I went back. I said thank you, met them all, and remember being up on the tower. They're so proud of the history. I mean, Jacksonville Beach has a lifeguard group that's been around since 1912.
Wow.
And it's like the only volunteer lifeguard group in the whole country. Like nothing else exists like this, what we have here. And the traditions are, very strict as far as how to get in, and, you really have to be good in the water, and they make sure they put you through the ringer to be part of it. So everyone on those chairs, is well trained, and they just were, they were so appreciative that I came back to say thanks to them, which was like, blew me away. They said, trust me, nobody thanks us. Nobody comes back and says, we don't really get to hear that part. So it's we appreciate you coming back and being a part of it. And I remember being up on the tower with one of the guards, Joe, and he was the one kind of towards the end in the ambulance and in the truck, and he used the term chain of survival. That's basically like the whole process of how a save would go, or how an emergency medical situation would go, and it was all kind of like perfectly flawless, right? So they had some sort of medical training that morning that was for the oxygen masks.
Yeah.
They only do that training once a year, I think he said.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the chances that they like
that
got trained up, kind of just a refresher course that morning? Not very frequently, as far as just me being so close to them when it happened, the ambulance showing up right when they pulled up to the ramp, just everything kind of was worked in a perfect click. So, those types of conversations and those thoughts, as I think back on it, make you realize, like, yeah, this is definitely happened for a reason. So, I try to take that mentality, and it just always is in my conscious, and try to take that mentality and just really try to live my life and embrace it, instead of, move to Alaska and be a recluse, because people do that. There's not a lot of people that want to be in the spotlight of something that not many people know about and need to learn, if not, don't know already. I mean, people need to learn CPR. They need to be comfortable with an AED. I remember the representative from Zoll Medical, which was a company that manufactures the device that saved me. He came back to thank the lifeguards.
Oh, wow.
Same thing. Yeah, so he came back and he was like, look, our devices are great, but we don't have many opportunities to come back and thank the people and the person that lived with our device. So he came back. He was a regional rep, I think, out of Orlando. And, just wanted to honor the situation and the guards themselves, and he gave us all awards. And, we ended up talking afterwards, and he said, JR, I really, I appreciate you doing this, and, it sounds like you've become, passionate. He's like, either people jump right in and are all in to the causes that affect them, or they pull completely away and they don't want to be involved, or they don't want it to be them, because it doesn't, it doesn't define you. It doesn't. I don't feel like it defines me, but sometimes it does get a little too much. It's
How
just,
so?
Well, when it's constant, sometimes it just becomes overwhelming. I mean, you're the poster child for living through cardiac arrest, and that's not very common.
No.
And if it's always in your face, it's kind of like, I don't know, it just kind of gets overwhelming sometimes. So you try to spin it to the most positive I can, and being around the lifeguards, which I have been consistently since then. I actually was invited by the board president last year to be on their board, so they can have a few folks that aren't alumni of guards. So I've been helping them. Yeah. So I think, got kind of marketing, advertising, events background, and I think an outside perspective is kind of what they were looking for, and obviously somebody now passionate about what they do and still learning, but very appreciative of what they do, and it's great. Great group of people, and they definitely can always use more help, because funding changes, and there's always money that needs to come in, and how can we tell their story? You know? I mean, in marketing, you say if you're the first and the only of anything, right? Like, that's a great story, right? Like, if you've been you're the first volunteer lifeguard group ever in the U.S., and you're now the only one.
Yeah.
Like, people should know that, right? And when you come to Jacksonville Beach, you should know, wow, that's a great story. Like, how do I find out about this? Like, it's kind of like going in a fire museum. You go into that station down on the beach, and it's just a museum of all the old outfits and the pictures of the classes and the different types of equipment they used. And, like, the day we went back, they took us all through there, and they were all so proud. Even the youngest kids were just so proud to be a part of that tradition. It was really cool. I mean, just to be a part. I'm like, why is all this stuff? And this is my marketing brain thinking, like, why is all this stuff in your house? Let's get it out on the beach. Let's get it so people who just show up every day on a Saturday know about you, and know that they can feel safe on the beach while they're here, because you have a well-trained group of kids. So I've been pretty excited to be a part of them, and pretty honored actually to be kind of included in their subculture of group, because it is. I mean, it's not an easy thing. It's like a fraternity, because you do have to go through a lot of training and long hard hours of 5 a.m. Saving people and practice in the dark, that kind of thing. So
wow,
they're crazy.
I didn't know that was that. They had intense training.
Yeah. I've become friends with guys since, who was the captain last year, and we were out to Mexican dinner one night, and he's like, I'm like, hey, you want to go out after this? And he said, I can't. I gotta be up at 4:30. I have to go out and pretend I'm drowning in the dark, and make sure these kids come out and save me. So the new class was going to be going out there in the dark.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was like, wow, like. And then you look at him like, that 16-year-old kid is gonna do that, and sure enough, they do. So it's pretty impressive, it's impressive. So it's been an honor to be a part of their group, and to be integrated into their society. And like I said, it's just down the street, so it's good to be a part of. But kind of on a ramble there. Sorry, but
wow, keep talking.
Yeah,
like this is all about you, man.
This is it. Okay, yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Like, it's all about me, and this is all just the last 2 years. It does feel like a bit of a whirlwind.
Yeah.
I mean, my wife had a coworker who ended up at American Heart Association, and she knew of my story and brought me to a little mixer event they had at the town center area, and they just kind of talked about all the different events they do. And as soon as I got there, like, everyone wanted to meet me and just kind of hear the story again through the persons who lived. And like I said, they don't get the people in the medical world know that this doesn't happen very often.
Do you know the percentage of the survival rate?
Yes, so the survival rate for non-hospitalized cardiac arrest, which is what mine was, is about 9.6%.
Wow. So
I think 335,000 people, at least 325,000 people a year have cardiac arrest. I think even out of home. I might be off by that one, but out of hospital, sorry. And less than 10% live. Now that's probably, in an airport or something like that. in my situation, you know, if you talk to my doctors, they say probably more like 3 or 4% chance of living. So,
Sure.
yeah. Because, like, what's the chances that they have an AED on the beach, you know, well far
Yeah,
from...
that's true. Like,
Yeah. What's the chances that you're there when they're on shift? I mean, they're not on shift,
yeah.
you know.
And what's the chances I had that refresher that morning too?
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. Of the, you know, the oxygen and the device was working and well maintained. So, yeah, you start thinking about that. It's just like, well, you know, it's not much else that faith could happen. So I try to take that and make it positive, you know, and tell that story. Just, you know, I wouldn't normally, you know, if you looked at my life and you see I'm always the guy behind the guy, you know, the, kind of the secondary.
You're behind the scenes.
Yeah, normally, you know, I'm more comfortable in that role of support, and but it's hard to be the support role when it actually happened to you, and the story is important enough to tell. And you go to the American Heart Association event, and they say, you know, our county isn't even mandatory to have kids learn CPR. That means not one kid in Duval County is required to spend 45 minutes to get trained on CPR in 4 years. In 4 years, like, and we're not the only ones. I mean, our state is not. You know, they're working on all the counties, the big counties. And this was 2 years ago when I met them. They're, you know, showing me the map and all this, and it's like, you know, all this information just like how can you not be CPR certified? I mean, I was CPR certified when I was in health class back in 7th grade, and I knew how to do CPR. And even though things have changed, it's not, you know, it's not that much different. And, you know, why are kids not having to spend that 45 minutes? Oh, well, it's tax money and all this. And so, you know, learning about that through the American Heart has been like huge, right? So for me to be able to say, you know, I never met the yoga instructor. I still to this day, that's like the one missing piece of the whole story, because I never did meet her in the chaos of what was happening. And I think American Heart since has told me they tried to go back and like put up posts and try to find her and maybe figure out if we could reunite her, but haven't met her. But no, she was, you know, I think she was a physical therapist actually. So, and most likely, you know, certified through a program that the American Heart Association, you know, funded or started, and, you know, help people learn CPR. So, you know, I feel like I should give back to that, you know, and be more active in getting kids to try it, you know, and to learn CPR and AEDs too. I mean, good Lord, look how, you know, how important that device was for me. If it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be here. I mean, you can move the blood in my body as much as you want, but without that, you know, shock to clarity really is what I kind of call it. I wouldn't be here. So.
Well, what? How am I going to say this? So obviously, this kind of like make you think about death a lot, right? What would be like kind of like the thoughts through your head?
I think I'm just pretty calm about it, to be honest. Much calmer than before. I think in general my tone in life is don't worry as much about, you know, sweat the small things. It's pointless, and I still do it. Everyone does it, and you get overwhelmed by the smallest of things, and those little things build up to, you know, cause these types of accidents and incidences. But yeah, I don't worry about death. I don't question it. I feel like if it's gonna happen, it'll happen for a reason. And, you know, I think as a kid you always wonder why someone dies young or why they were taken. And I'm not a hugely religious person. I would say I'm pretty spiritual now. I mean, I'm continually thinking about God and, you know, just appreciative of being here. And, I kind of feel like if you know, you live through that and you think, well, if they're gonna take me tomorrow, somebody else needs me somewhere else.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I like to think about it that way. You know, if somebody dies young of cancer and you're like, wow, you know, he was so young and so full of energy, and wow, why did he have to die? And I gotta think someone else on the other side's like, we need him more over here.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny you say that. It actually just kicked in my mind. So the woman who saved me first was named Sam Peters.
This lifeguard.
Yeah, the lifeguard. I went to the first alumni function they had. It was like a Christmas awards thing, and I met her father. And her father was bigger than life kind of guy, motorcycle guy, big guard. He was a lifeguard back in the 60s, 70s, and just full life guy, right? I met him for a minute, instantly felt like he was your best friend, and I'm like, he lives right down the street. I see him on Facebook. My mom's Facebook friends with him. See their posts all the time. I'm like, I'm sure we'll be seeing him a lot. I'm excited to have met him, and of course thanked him for his daughter and all that she'd done, and for me. And he was just so proud, and it's great. Great little interaction we had, and it was really no big deal. Didn't think twice of it. And then maybe 6 months later, he died of some sort of, I don't know if it was heart related, to be honest with you. I think inevitably it was a heart issue that ended up taking his life. But I mean, he was probably in his late 50s, maybe.
Wow.
Yeah. So you think, what, and then at his funeral, which they did an amazing job. They do a funeral, but they also do, when you're in the lifeguard and Corps, they do a kind of a farewell to the sea, and they just kind of do a inaugural, symbolic light. They send something out into the ocean. I think they might have taken his ashes. Don't quote me on that.
Oh, okay.
But I think they did actually. Yeah. So it was this that's always been part of his life, and I remember his father, I believe, was given a speech, and the speech was really interesting because they like to think about someone's dying as, you're going off into the horizon. When you see that boat kind of drifting off to the horizon, and you're waving goodbye, but if you think about it on the other side, someone's on the other side of the shore waving, hey, come at me, come towards me.
Yeah.
They're coming towards us, so we get this person, right? Or we get this soul. So I try to think about it that way, and, think, it helps cope when you meet, when someone dies instantaneously. They shouldn't be, a traumatic death. You're like, wow, how does that happen? It's really hard to deal with. We won't have those, but I like to try and think about it that way.
I don't know. Lately, I've been thinking about death a lot. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not.
In a sense that you're worried about it, or just it's
really
part of life.
Really don't know what's on the other side.
No, that's for sure.
I'm at a point in my life where I'm, questioning if I'm going the right way.
Yeah.
If I'm doing the right things in my life.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think that's. I think everyone kind of has to cross that path, in their own time, whether it's when they're young or not. And I mean, in my mind, I feel like for me, it happened. It's like basically like wake up, literally, physically wake the hell up, man. Like you need to do something that's not. And I don't think I'm a selfish person, but. Mm-hmm. We can always be less selfish, right? We can always do something else for someone else, small things during the day, as much as possible to make the world better. I mean, we all have to live here, right? So, whether it's a huge idea and you follow through with it, or if it's just opening the door for someone, you try to just do unto others as others would have do unto you. So as much as I can, but for me, the incident just kind of was like, hey, wake up. And I think people, one of the other things that there always is when I tell people what happened, and you give them a short brief, and they're just like, some people they just don't know what to say. Some people it freaks them out.
Yeah. Some
people they don't want to talk about it, or they don't bring it up. I think other people might not even be comfortable around me. That I I don't know. Other people are so religious that they are they think you're
blessed.
They think there's something special about you. You're almost in this light that, and I'm like, hey.
Really? Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and it's not that they say it. It's just the way they talk to you. that's God's work right there.
Yeah.
You know,
It's
like that kind of thing.
Let me take part of your hair and
yeah. Like, can I have something?
yeah,
a piece of cloth.
Here, spin this.
yeah. Can I get a piece of your tag from your shirt or something? Yeah, no, I don't know. No, it's not that often. It's never really that awkward, but it does sometimes feel that way. But we're also in the middle of the Bible Belt too, right?
Yeah,
like, let's be honest, we're still in Baptist world here, so
yeah.
We're in Georgia. We're not really in Florida, so, but all's good, no complaints. If people want to pray for me, that's fine too. I mean, that story is actually interesting too. So remember I said that. So I was laying there and I hear this woman praying.
Yeah.
Save this man. Help. Jesus, save this man. Like yelling, top of her lungs. Right? To the point of where I am like, I'm conscious enough to be like, okay, thank you. But I'm trying, like I can also try to hear, I'm trying to hear my friend.
Yeah.
Trying to hear my friend Luis, like, tell me, like, I still can't open my eyes, right? Like, it's just so blinding light or whatever. My teeth are kind of chattering still. So I can't really talk. And he's trying, I can hear his voice. I think he's trying to give me, like, hey, we'll meet you at the hospital, whatever. I know I heard his voice, but I don't know what he was saying because this woman was praying so loudly. Yeah, which, go figure, right? So I fast forward, like, 3 months, and I'm at work, and they post the story or something. Because we were going to do the Heart Walk for the American Heart Association, which was in September. It's in September every year here in Jacksonville. And it is, we decided to do a team last minute, and I get this email, and it says, when I read this story on our intranet, my jaw dropped. I can't believe that this was you. Do you remember the person praying on the beach? That was me. So I said, oh my gosh, like I need to meet this woman, right? Like she works in my office. Like, what's the chances? Again, what's the chances? So we meet her, we have lunch a few times, became friends, and turns out, she's pretty religious, but keep to herself religious. And her story from that day was she was probably 500 yards away. No, I keep saying 500 feet away. So close enough to see.
Yeah.
Not like
that's
5
a lot
football
of
fields.
She came running with her Bible. I'm coming.
Yeah. She said, she's not normally one to go over to an area when A, medical people are present, B, the situation's underhand, what's she gonna do, and that's how I am. I mean, I'll go try to help out if no one else is there, but if I see, medical flags and everyone, it looks like it's covered, like no need to make a scene. But she said something lured her over, something internally, she didn't know why, but she said God told her that she needed to be over there. So she went over there, and she was right there when all of it happened. And my friend who was with me, kicking the soccer ball, he said after, he said, he's pretty religious, but not obsessively religious or anything. He was, he said, I'm not sure if it caused it or not, but, when she prayed, he did come back to life, so there's that. So I'm like, okay, well, I think it was the machine, but I do feel that God was a big part of it.
That technology.
Thank you, God, but thank you for helping them invent the technology to save my life. So, so a lot of different sides to the story, but like I said, the yoga person is the only person we still haven't met. So, if you're out there, thank you again.
You remember what she looked like?
Oh, I don't.
No.
I don't even know if Luis does. I could never see her. I think she was just nothing, no description really.
No.
It was kind of out of it, So
The mystery person.
Yeah, a mystery person. Yeah, because she really wasn't involved after when we went back to meet the lifeguards. And then the woman at work. I was just very lucky through.
Yeah.
I was the one yelling prayer at you. And she said, I was like, I never do that. I would never do that, but something in me was just kind of overwhelmed by the situation, and I felt like I needed to do that. So I was said, well, thank you for doing it. So that's the gist of the last 2 years of my life. Like I said, trying to be an advocate as much as possible, and helping the American Heart Association when they need a spokesman, or Zoll Medical, which is the medical company that, like I said, made the AED device. I'd love to see AEDs more commonly used and accessible.
I think they're becoming cheaper throughout the year.
Yeah,
every year.
Yeah, you're right.
Find better materials,
better. Yeah, they're
cheaper. Not cheaper. Efficient ways of making it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can get them on like Costco and Walmart's websites now. Yeah, for like $1,500.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean some less too. I mean, there's some at like $11,000 for a device. So the big one for me is, there's a lot of issues with kids and sports, and a lot of fields don't have them, or you wouldn't expect them to. So
no, I remember a couple of years ago I heard stories about that. Healthy high schoolers, college students.
Yeah.
The perfect athletes, the great athletes. So I think one of them was a basketball player. One story I heard.
Yeah, I'm real conscious about those stories now. I mean, I totally remember when you're talking about it. I don't remember where, but
was it practice? He was on the court, and his heart just gave out.
Yep. Yeah. There's an organization called National Parent Watch, I think it is, and their basic mission is that, I think a few of their members, kids have died from, being blunt force trauma, or just, it's more, a lot of times it's the ball or the actual physical contact hitting them, which causes the rhythm of the heart. If it hits at exact right time where the beat is happening, you can go into this, fibrillation or tachycardia, which isn't as bad as the fibrillation, which is what happened to me. But and then it's like you need something to bring your heart back into a normal rhythm. And so their thought is like, hey, you have a team of 10 in any sport, or 5, whatever. It's a couple $100 per family to have one of these devices for your team. I think that makes total sense. I would just bring one as a team.
Just get funding from the school, or do a what was that, PTA fundraiser.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's an easy
and the thing is about CPR, because when I first did it was the mouth to mouth version. And now they last time I heard was that they stopped doing a mouth to mouth.
It's because hands only. Is what they're saying. Only.
That's supposed to help out with one thing. A lot of people didn't want to do the CPR because of the whole mouth to mouth thing, because they're afraid of getting some type of fluid or.
Yep. No, that's very true. I mean, it's also just invasive, right? Like, you just don't want to put your mouth on somebody else's. It's just not natural. So but they say that the key is to call 911 first, and then push hard and fast in the center of someone's chest. And Sam, I don't know about how large the yoga person was. I have a feeling she wasn't the largest person, and Sam's a very small girl. And she didn't break any ribs, but I sure was really sore, in the hospital for the next few days. And normally they say you should be compressing the chest like 1.5 to 2 inches, I think. So you're basically breaking ribs. You should be almost breaking ribs to get your heart moving that much. So it's physically demanding to do CPR if you're doing it right.
That's why you need 2 to 3 people there with you. Absolutely. That take over for like every minute.
Yeah, I mean, and then it's it is. But even if you're doing it just a little bit, like, get in there and do it quickly. That's the key, because once the blood, after 5 minutes, the stat is like every minute after 5 minutes that the blood doesn't get into your brain, you have another 10% chance of having a stroke, or having brain damage, or dying in general. So every minute counts, right? So it's really those first 5 minutes is the key. So just trying to get people aware, and be more conscious of those situations. I mean, that's all you can do is arm people with the information and the knowledge, and hopefully they will make the decision in that situation. And some people, they're not comfortable in that situation whether they know CPR or not.
Yeah.
And but they can do what they they do the best that they can. Hopefully, and that's it's hopefully somebody in a medical situation does. And so it's interesting too. Like the story came out in the paper after we met the guards, and they were like, I got a call from nowadays the internet, and I got Facebook friended by a guy in Jacksonville, in Gainesville, Florida, whose wife is from Ponte Vedra, and they saw the story and they knew exactly where that was.
Wow.
And so he had the same thing happen to him, but he was in a gym in Gainesville, and there's AEDs everywhere, and there's like 5 doctors working out when it happened to him. So he was like, perfect scenario, perfect scenario. If it's gonna happen, and if there is such a perfect scenario, you're in the right situation there. So he was as well in the same situation, and he was brought back to life too. But he said, it's a crazy feeling. You're gonna go through a lot of emotions, and everyone's very different. And we met and had lunch, and this happened to me, and I was just kind of like, okay, yeah, I feel good. Like, and they gave me the standard protocol medicines that they would give you to to work through the situation. And he had been doing it for 2 years and dealing with it, and he was so medically detailed about all the different what he could eat, but he had very restrictive things that he couldn't eat at a certain time of day because it made him tired based on this medicine, and just all these things. And I was like, at first I met him, I'm like, I'm exhausted, like I can't. Yeah, I'm like, love the guy today, still today, Jason, love you, man, but I was tired, like we walked out of that. I think we went to brunch. Pam and I went down and met them. Holy cow, I'm exhausted. Like, we didn't even talk on the ride home because we were just so tired from. We just realized this little network that we just kind of jumped into, which is great to have that support network and support of other people that have gone through it. It's extremely necessary. It definitely helps. But everyone's just in a different part of their lives. Like how it happened, why it happened to them, and that statistic shows that it's such a complex muscle. Your heart has, your body in general. Like why is there a certain electrical current in my body that's decided not to function, that day, or malfunction? Like, and why can't they find it? And that's what I was gonna say before. Is other people have said, hey, don't you want to know? Like, aren't you mad that you can't know? Like, you don't have the answer? And honestly, I've had this, like, just calm about myself since it happened. And I've just been, you know what? I don't think I'm going to, I don't know if I don't think they're ever going to find out. I don't think they really will. And like I said, I'm kind of okay with it. I mean, it'd be great to just be like, here's the answer. But it's not, I don't think it's in the cards for me. I don't think that they're going to find it. It's like needle in a haystack, and just not going to happen. But I'll keep trying, and hopefully they can do tests and studies to continually figure it out. But it's pretty far fetched right now for me to think that might happen.
Earlier you said you had a little bit of survivor's guilt.
Yeah.
What was that? What happened with that?
I mean, I think just would be more really just questioning why I'm alive. Why was I chosen to be here and not, the other 93% of people, 92% of people that don't live. I mean, people in hospitals with the device right away, and they die. Just you wonder why. So it'll always be something I think about. Like I said, and then when I do have that, I try to go to these chat rooms and things that are, American Heart Association has one, and there's Sudden Cardiac Arrest Association actually that has. I get emails from them, and there's little just threads of people what they're tasking and talking about, and it's kind of comforting to know that there's other people out there that are going through the same thing, and kind of feeling the same way and dealing with things. And then you think, like my friend Jason, like some other people have it a lot worse than I do. And even in general, like cardiac arrest it's tough to live with, the idea that this could happen at any time again. But I'm not, there's so many other stories of people that deal with more difficult health issues, whether it's, sickness from cancer or, children with heart issues, and go to a children's hospital.
Ugh,
you want to feel,
Yeah.
you want to feel bad about yourself, go to a children's hospital. Literally, like, those places are, you really put in perspective. So, it's something I deal with, and I feel like it's, you try not to have a pity party too much, It's not something that, we all have our things and our issues, and someone's always got it worse than you, someone's always got it better, so you just kind of have to keep things in perspective. But, I got the fail-safe now. I don't know if I told you, but one of the surgeries was, they did do
like a pacemaker?
Yeah, so they put an ICD, which is an Implantable Cardioverter Defibrillator, which is about the size of a pocket watch in my left chest. And they have one wire, which is called a lead, which goes into the chamber of my heart that was affected. And if my heart goes a certain beat per minute, I'm not even sure what it's set at, but it's something where I will never run that fast, so I'm not too worried about it. But I want to say it's like 180, 190, something crazy like that. It'll immediately
jumpstart.
Yeah, jumpstart me. And Jason was funny when he told me about it. He said, if that thing ever goes off after I met him, he's like, it's gonna feel like you got kicked in the chest by a donkey. Yeah, and he was explaining his situation where he had it happen to him like 4 or 5 times in one day, and he was just like, get me out of this world. Like, he was ready to be like, I'm done. This is just crazy. Like, for like a 2-hour period, he just went through this just spell. Yeah, so his story was crazy. So he tells me this, and then this is between when it actually happened. So I actually did have the device go off about 6 months after the surgery, after the first incident, and it was I was playing golf, and I just went down in the sand trap, and all of a sudden, same exact, like, if I think about it, it was the same feeling of lightheadedness, and my hands went down, and I was luckily playing with 2 random guys who had a golf cart and were able to take me back, and it really just felt like a little sucker punch, like I didn't really feel like this mega, volt that Jason had said was going to be like. So I was like, all right, was that it? So I was kind of, the next 5 to 10 minutes, I'm thinking, was that the tremor before the earthquake? Am I going to get blasted by something here that's going to knock me, like, out? So I'm sitting on the steps of the country club, and I called the nurse. First I texted him. He said, no, that's probably what it was. That's, it sounds like it worked. You should be fine, but just, wait. And called my wife, and then I called the hospital, and they said, well, that's what it is. That sounds like it worked, and the device did its job. So you don't have to come in if you don't want. It's a Friday night, and it's the ER's, really busy. And I was like, no, we're going in. You're testing my blood. Like, I won't be able to sleep all weekend. Yeah. I'll be like on edge the whole weekend. So I said, I'll go sit in the ER. I don't care if it takes a little bit longer on a Friday night. So we went in, and the company that manufactures the device, for Boston Scientific in my case, one of their reps came in, and they test the device, make sure it's still working, make sure it's, the battery's okay and everything's intact, which it was, and then they print the report, and it said my heart went up to 288 beats a minute, and immediately kicked in. Yeah, the device kicked in and brought me back to life again.
So it worked. So
yeah,
did his job. Yeah.
No, he did his job. Yeah. So I think if knock on wood it happens again, or if ever happens again, I'll be a little less. I'll definitely be less apprehensive, because I'll know, okay, that's just what it was. But anytime I get lightheaded, sometimes, for a while my medicines weren't accurate, and I was taking too much of one, I can't remember which one, beta blocker, I believe, and so I lowered that, but I would get up too quickly and I would feel really lightheaded. It was just like being on the beach. So you're like, oh man, is it gonna happen again? Okay, I guess not. So it's like, there's not much you can do about it, but you're like living on eggshells. It's kind of like, it was very, very difficult. But we work through the medicines, and I've got a good balance of what I'm taking now, which isn't which is like I said, my world's not that difficult compared to other people's, but yeah. So
always wondered this for pacemakers and I forgot the name of that one you have.
Defibrillator.
Yeah, the ones that are implanted. How does the battery charge or keep charged?
It's good for like 8 or 9 years apparently.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. The technology is like crazy. They said that the technology is so good that I guess like pacemakers have been around for 35, 40 years apparently.
Yeah.
Like my uncle has one, he's had one for a long time. But yeah, they said basically when they'll have to take this out in say 6 to 7 years, that the technology of the actual device will be so much better with the next version that they won't take the battery out. They'll just literally replace the device.
Yeah.
Because they might as well just upgrade me for the 7, 8 year newer device because it'll be better. But I don't know if you can see that machine above the TV, that white box right there.
Oh, like right next
to the stereo area.
Yeah.
The small white box.
Mm-hmm.
So that is called the communicator device, and that device, if I'm within 15, 20 feet of that device right now, actually it probably is within distance, it's connected to the internet, and that device will upload all of my heartbeats that this device in my chest stores, and then each day or each couple times a week, Mayo Clinic has someone in their office who
just checks.
So I go in there every 6 months, and when I go in for my checkup, they'll say, probably wasn't anything, but do you remember on April 22nd at 6 p.m. you had a little blip of you had a irregular heartbeat or a blip in the radar, so to speak. Probably wouldn't have felt it, and I haven't felt it or known anything, but that's how precise the technology is right now, that they're really counting every heartbeat that I have, and then letting me know if it was a good one or not, which is mind-boggling. So I'm connected, virtually connected, almost bionically. So it's kind of crazy. So
we're going to actually that's just like this completely mind-boggling story though. It's like it's kind of like what you said. Everything was kind of like the right time, or everything was in the right place, and man.
Yeah, no, I think about it all the time. I walk my dog on the beach pretty much every morning, and walk up the same, area where the ambulance came and got me, and I just thank the Lord and thank the people that were involved, and just super grateful. Just you can't, and even like really what gets me is like I get really emotional now because just at like bigger events, like I went to like the U2 concert a couple weeks ago in Miami, and just like so overwhelmed, and was with family for the 4th of July in Massachusetts, and hadn't seen them in a while, and fireworks are going off and the kids are running around. I'm like, just so happy to be able to be here and just to be able to experience it. So you don't get to, I didn't have that appreciation before. So in a way, it's kind of like the incident itself has given me this new appreciation for every little thing that that I'm allowed to do and be a part of. So yeah, I don't think, I like to say that the first 40 years was my kind of do my own thing, but hopefully the next 40 is do things for other people and be more selfless, and hopefully this incident is the I think it'll really be, when I look back on my life, a defining moment, of course, but also a more positive than negative situation. So I hope to think so.
So you said you gotta just appreciate it now.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, we're gonna go to what we're gonna do next for our restaurant interview. is have these questions, and it's got the first part is like really fun questions. You're gonna think about it's like his little playful questions, and then it's gonna get a little bit deeper.
All right.
And feel comfortable while any of the questions or answering it, and you don't have to answer it.
Okay.
But give you an example. Given the choice of anyone in the world from any time period, who would you want as a dinner guest and why?
Oh, the dinner guest question.
Yeah.
Oh. It's a tough one. I don't know if it's changed much from the incident, but there's plenty of world leaders I think would be interesting people. But I think a meal with my family would probably be the most telling thing. There's plenty of people that would be interesting to talk to and speak to, like Gandhi or someone like that. But I don't know. I think just my family, my wife, and my parents.
Aww.
Probably be the best. I have to have my sister there. That's like she's like
Just
bud.
complete it.
Yeah, she's my bud. So
The dog
can
too.
I have more than? Yeah, can they all be sitting out here in the patio at my house like we have done for the last couple of years for Thanksgiving? Luckily, the weather's been nice enough, so yeah, that'd be it.
Oh. Interesting answer. A lot of times you do get the world leader or historical figure.
Yeah.
I forgot what the last interview I had. I forgot what her answer was. Was it Fred? I think it was Fred Astaire. Because he was Fred Astaire. Yeah. Because he was a dancer. She's like, I love to.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because I've been an athletic guy and sports been my life. I work in the sports world now, and it just feels a lot less important.
Yeah.
I used to get riled up when the Florida Gators lose, and it's my school, and I'm not as as crazy as most people here in Jacksonville. I think most of my friends who aren't Gator fans and know that I am one are like, you're like the most normal Gator fan I know because you don't get crazy like the rest of them. I said, well, it's just perspective. I mean, they're going to play tomorrow and they probably could lose that one or they might win it. So it's great. I love sports. I think they're very important for society and development of kids and all those things. And I enjoy the competition. And just when you think you're going to see something different, that you aren't going to see something. There's no way I can see something more amazing in sports. Something happens, but I don't get as riled up anymore. I just don't get as crazy. So I guess maybe I missed that a little bit. I mean, my story, my answer, 10 years ago, 5 years ago would have been, some sort of professional athlete or, any of them really, probably Michael Jordan or someone like that. But just not as big a deal anymore.
Perspective changed.
I sure did. Yeah, definitely.
Well, all right. Next question. Like I said, the first part of it's gonna be kind of little funny questions, but it leads up to the deeper questions. When making a phone call, do you rehearse what you're gonna say, and why?
No, I don't. I kind of probably wing it. It's like the one thing I have in common with Trump. I just kind of wing it. That's about the only thing. Well, we probably have the same hair if I grew mine out and pulled it over to the side, but
I think you'll look better with your hair.
Yeah.
Like actually, somebody showed me a picture of what he will look like if he actually cut it off.
Yeah.
Like get a close shave like you.
Yeah.
And it was actually a pretty good picture. Like he looks a lot better.
Yeah.
With the hair gone.
Yeah, he's in trouble now. He's already started it. He's like the most powerful man in the world. So. He's got to go with it now. He's gone down that path, so I went this way instead.
You just owned it, like, no, I'm going to do it.
Yeah. So luckily, my wife tolerated it because she's like, I don't, she didn't really want me to, but I'm like, it's gone. I'm not gonna do like a 40-year-old comb over. That's not cool.
Yeah. I had a guy I used to work with. One of my friends married him, and they quickly divorced. It was like a really weird wedding. But I used to make jokes about him because he was like 4 years old and he had those 3 long pieces of hair, and that he would come over, and I made a joke about it, saying like, You think he spends like half an hour doing that, and she came up and told him like, yeah, he just
Oh,
take
yeah.
a half an hour in the mirror just to do the three pieces.
Yeah, it's like, bro, let it go, man.
Yeah, just
like early onset comb over, you don't want to have that. That's not a good look. I mean, no one, you're not fooling anybody. So.
Yeah, at that point you're in denial. Just accept it. Just
let it go, bro. Let it go.
All right. What would constitute a perfect day for you?
Perfect day is, shoot, it's got to have a nice sunrise. We've had some not so great ones lately, but nice purple pink sunrise. Walk on the beach with the dog and my wife. Go grab some breakfast. Nothing too unhealthy, but you know, if it's a perfect day, maybe a really good egg and cheese sandwich. Just hanging out with friends around here on the beach. Gotta have a lot of laughter. Hopefully some live music, and hopefully friends and family around. That's kind of it, and some good food. Definitely, hopefully seafood. Local seafood would be great. Yeah.
Well, for breakfast, where you guys usually go?
We're actually like, we just started renting out our place next door, and you can post up all these things that you like to do and all this, and we love to give recommendations. There's a lot of good diners here, but Pam is just, I married a food snob, and I'm okay with it.
Lucky.
Yeah, no, I am. I mean, like, we traveled the first 4 years we were dating. We were actually on the road, kind of working and traveling together. We never cooked for each other. We never just cooked, but we ended up, settling down, and she's an amazing cook, and I got really lucky with that. But she's got a great sense of smell, and she doesn't want to go out to dinner or breakfast and just have eggs and bacon. Like, we can do that here.
Yeah.
Or she'll make an amazing frittata, or something like with mushrooms and some sort of crazy cheese that you didn't even know that went well with mushrooms.
Yeah.
So I'm just really lucky with that. I think Ovente just closed, but I really liked Ovente. They had the best brunch. I'm pretty sure that up in Town Center they were amazing. They had food wise, just unique food.
Yeah.
But if it's unique food, is kind of like, I'll go out for breakfast for something unique.
Yeah.
That's different. But I can fry up some eggs, and then if somebody's got, like, in Colorado Springs, we always had green chili, which was basically green pepper, roasted peppers, ground up, and then kind of in a gravy on top of eggs and bacon and stuff, and a burrito or something. So that was really unique. I kind of missed that, to be honest. But that's kind of breakfast snobs, I guess. A little bit.
Man, I went to actually Colorado. Once a year I try to go to Colorado because one of my good friends lives out there, and the food's so good out there.
Yeah,
so good.
That's different. I mean, it's you just have to, like, embrace what's cool. I mean, I missed the seafood when we were there. Like, I remember Pam and I lived in Colorado Springs, and we ended up going on New Year's Day to, like, a chain restaurant, a nice one, like McCormick Instruments, I believe, because we were just dying for some seafood, or, like, just some raw oysters and some crab or something like that, kind of treat ourselves, and we didn't trust anywhere else, because, I mean, everything is flown in nowadays, all over, but there isn't just your local joint, like, around here, like, you could walk 5 minutes in any direction and hit a really good seafood place, so, or a seafood market, which you just don't get that.
No,
you just don't get those in Colorado. So
no, but I had what do you call it? I had some good veal.
Yeah,
good
bison.
Bison is really good.
Yeah.
What's all the meats out there? Snake.
Yeah.
Snake.
I mean, we had a place we used to go to that had, like, it was all the game meat you could have, like venison and like antelope. Antelope's a little bit. It's actually all right. It's not. I liked. What was the other one? I liked venison, okay, but bison was by far my favorite. But yeah, hardy. But it's colder, so you have the hardier meats make sense. Here, you're just like you want something a little bit lighter for the most part. I mean, I love a steak, but not in the middle of a 95-degree grilling, and a steak is just not not where you want to be all the time. So. Yeah.
Okay. When did you last sing to yourself, or and to someone else?
Out loud, or in
Out
my
loud.
head? Well, the U2 concert a couple weeks ago,
Yeah.
we were bellowing it. Yeah, of course. I mean, I was pretty excited about that. The whole place was going crazy, so that was fun. But I don't really sing out loud too much. Yeah, no, I do. My college roommates always said that I annoyed the heck out of them with my whistling. I would always, and we had wood floors like we do here, so they'd be taking their nap in the morning and or not up yet, and I'm like coming in whistling Dixie, but whistle a lot. Yeah, I've always got a song in my head though. I sing in the car all the time. I think now that I think about it, yeah. So yeah, I like to think I've got a pretty good voice, but I don't think it's really that good. But
it's good. It's good for yourself.
In your head, you're like, I sound amazing. I'm good. You're not that good, dude.
Have you ever done karaoke and before you get out there, you're excited, yeah, I'm gonna blast it, and then when you actually hear yourself sing, it's like, wow,
yeah,
this sounds horrible.
It's awful. It's awful. That kind of goes back to this whole era that I'm in now. It's public speaking and stuff like that. I've never been to front of the stage. So I actually never did karaoke until literally. I mean, it was probably 4:30 in the morning one night in Key West, and it was only my brother-in-law, my sister, me, and then 4 people in the bar, and one dude's whose head's on the table, asleep to the world. And of course, I don't even sing. I do Beastie Boys, Paul Revere, Beastie Boys. Which, by the way, if you ever try to karaoke that, it's really hard. You know what I mean? Because if once you get off, you're off by one word, one line.
Yeah.
You're behind, and then you're just and I was too drunk to be. Here's a little story I got to tell. Mike D. Just kind of I'm all over the place. It was awful. No, yeah, it was bad. But this guy comes up to me after, he's like, "Bro, you were amazing. I can't believe you kicked Paul Revere." And I'm like, "Oh man,
he was drunk too." We're
I'm like, "Bro, that was terrible." You thought that was good? He's like, "Yeah, that was." I'm like, "All right, cool."
He was just filling the gaps in his head,
Yeah, he was in his head. Yeah, in his head, he was singing the other words, right? So, yeah, it's pretty funny. My sister's like, "What were you thinking?" I'm like, "I don't know. Just there's nobody here. Might as well give it a shot, right?"
Have fun. That's all.
Yeah,
it is.
exactly. So.
See, one time, back in college, I had a couple friends in a sorority, also in fraternity, and we went to this bar to go karaoke, and I forgot the name of the song is Love Shack.
Yeah,
and
it's classic.
Yeah, we were singing that. It was this group of us, and I got on the mic, and I'm like, bang, 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 and the DJ cut me off you sound so horrible. We need to cut you off. Why?
Frank, you have to leave now.
They kicked me off stage. After that,
you got the hook?
You're done. Yeah, they said, no, you're done. Get off.
You're literally the hook. Pull him. Oh, that's funny.
Wait, we didn't even finish the second chorus.
Yeah. I bet your friends don't give you any hard time about that at all, huh?
Nah. It's been years.
Bro, you couldn't even last one song. They pulled you. I've never seen anyone get kicked out of karaoke.
They coughed the mic get off the stage. They literally coughed the mic out hey, it's not working anymore. Yeah, get off.
Yeah, it's not working because I pulled it out of the wall. Oh my gosh, man. Well, I hope you're resilient. I hope you've been back up there since.
Yeah. Last time I did was November. Fall.
Yeah. Well, you got all the equipment here, man. You can practice at home.
Nah, when I tested the equipment, I had it against. What I did was I wanted to see how long it will last, so I had my little iPod playing. I put one speaker on the microphone, and I drank a little bit. So, so what I was going to do is I was going to do it for an hour and a half just to see how I just field test everything.
Yeah.
And I was drunk on the floor. I was just singing to myself, and it just sounded horrible. When I played it back, man, I gotta delete this.
Yeah. Not so good.
All right. If you reached the age of 100 and had the choice of retaining the mind of a 30-year-old or the body for the last 60 years of your life, which one would you want?
I would take the mind any day. Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course. I mean, you see so many people physically withered, but if your mind is there and you're
Yeah.
able to have conscious thought, even if it's, you know, a 30-year-old might be a little too young. It'd be nice to have a little bit more knowledge, but yeah, be the mind for sure. I mean, it's the physical part is, you know, I think I'd rather be in a wheelchair and, you know, be able to coherently think. I always feel so bad. Our friend works for the Alzheimer's Association, and my aunt recently died of Alzheimer's, and which is like the worst disease, you know, like you just can't remember who the person is who's your son or daughter, right, sits right next to you, right? So if you got that, I mean, that's, and there's no cure, you know, there's just, don't have an answer to it yet. So
yeah, I think that's why one of the most horrible diseases out there, probably maybe not one of the most, but up there.
I know. I mean, I can't decide. There's so many bad, right? Like the more you learn about different things, but it's terrible for the people in the world. But like we don't know how bad. Is it really that bad for the person? You know, because you don't know. I mean, they don't. Maybe they're actually happy. Like they're not. You know, they can't really answer anything. So, you know, maybe for them it's not that bad, but it's sure awful for everyone who's involved with that person, right? Because it's basically like they're no longer there. I mean, that's what my cousin said. He's like, yeah, my mom's alive, but she hasn't been with us for a year and a half. You know, I mean, really, she doesn't know who I am. Every time we walk in, we say the same thing. She knows she loves me. She knows I love her. But other than that, you know, nothing. So that one's a tough one, right? So as long as you can keep your mental ability, I would think that for me, that's the most important.
And it's still trying to figure out what causes it. Is also think like one of the biggest things I remember being taught was black coffee helps prevent it.
Really?
Yeah, drinking black coffee. Don't quote me on this one. Blueberries.
Yeah.
Blueberries.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully they can figure out more. I mean, I've heard there are some studies that are coming out that it's getting better, but they're a long ways away still, unfortunately. It's crazy when the heart's a complex muscle, but so is the brain. The brain's extremely complex. So.
Yeah. Actually, I read this interesting story, because scientists thought they knew what consciousness was, until like I think recently that this guy came into the he came into the doctor's office, and he's complaining of legs, both pain in both his legs, and they checked his legs, then did an MRI, and then checked his head, and they found out that most of his brain is missing. Like the only thing that's left, with, like basically his skull's filled with cerebral fluid. Yeah, I think it's cerebral fluid. But most of it's gone. And
his whole life has been that way, or
they don't know how long it's been, but like they're looking at him like he's normal. Yeah. He holds a job, he has a family, and the only thing wrong was the leg pain. And they're studying him because it's just so
all the brain that we quote unquote don't use, or
no, it's more like the parts of the brain, scientists thought that you need to have consciousness, like what's that, ambigular, I don't know, I forgot the parts of the brain, but the guy was missing it, and he was just functioning just fine. So it's kind of like, okay, what is consciousness at that point?
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow. It's kind of positive in a way that we have some, research to be done to find out more about that situation, for sure. Brain is complex too, for sure.
Yeah, it's a really amazing organism.
Yeah.
Or not organ, amazing organ.
Absolutely.
If you could change anything about the way you were raised, what would it be?
How I was raised. I mean, honestly, probably would love to have like a nuclear family. Didn't have that, but there's not I think it it all makes you who you are, and
Yeah.
you figure out how that works in the end. But I had a lot of friends who did, and had one steady father figure that was there the whole time, and I had multiple father figures, all of which are great people, but not one the whole time. So that would have been nice, but it's not a deal breaker.
Mm-hmm.
Still doing okay. Grew up in different environments, so that was good. I get to different. I never really lived in a major city until I was older. And
Yeah.
Probably would have liked to have a little bit more culture, into my life at a younger age. But I've tried to find that. I enjoy learning about other cultures and visiting other cultures and traveling and things. So make your way towards that stuff. But didn't have that too much as a kid. But had a good growing up in New England and as a little kid, and it wasn't so bad.
Some clam chowder.
Oh yeah, I was just back there actually, visiting family, but in similar area in the house that I grew up in. It was kind of interesting how they've changed a lot of it, but still has the same feel to it. Really comfortable small town, so it's neat. But I've lived in cities too. I enjoy the hustle and bustle of the city too. So got a good mix here. I think it's not too crazy, not too quiet.
Yeah,
you can find trouble if you want.
Yeah, there's a good balance here.
Yeah. So I think so.
Mm-hmm. Right. If you wake up tomorrow and gained any superpower or ability, what would it be and why?
Superpower.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, everybody wants to fly, right? So I want to fly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna tell you straight up, I want to fly. Yeah. I'm jealous of the drones lately. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, it'd be pretty cool. It'd just be cool to be able to fly. I always thought teleporting would be cool too. Not that anyone can do that. Someday they'll figure out how we all do that. But it'd be cool just to be able to teleport to another place, hang out there for the weekend instead of having to travel.
Yeah, it's like that.
Hey, you want to go to Istanbul tomorrow?
Yeah.
Okay. Or tonight for a few hours? Sure. Let's do it. Shoot right back. So that would be fun. So.
Yeah. Well, the way I kind of the way I usually look at it, because I travel a lot, and I drove across the country twice, and kind of look at it perspective from Lewis and Clark.
Mm-hmm.
It took them a couple of years to get across the country, and it takes me a couple of days.
Oh yeah. We're extremely lucky to live in an era that even our parents, flying was in the 50s, right? Like mainstream flying wasn't even until it's 60, 70 years now, but so our grandparents, that wasn't really even something that was part of their lives right away. So yeah, I can't complain when I have to have a connection flight. God forbid you have to connect, Problem is that there's direct flights available, so of course you're bummed, but yeah, we're not traveling in wagon train over mountains, so
No.
we're able to get to other countries. I mean, you can get anywhere in this world in 18 hours.
Yeah, for a day.
Yeah, exactly. In one day you can get anywhere. So yeah, that's not so bad.
Right.
So yeah.
Okay, flying. What, if anything, is too serious to be joked about?
What, if anything, is too serious to be joked about? A lot of illnesses. Some illnesses are just shouldn't joke about in general. I don't know. Just kind of an unwritten rule. Just someone has a defect or an illness that's not their fault. They were given it. And not that I'm not relating to myself. Honestly, I don't think anyone makes fun of someone's cardiac arrest, but some kids. It's tough. Kids make fun of everyone, right? But even when adults do that and poke fun at mental retardation or something like that, it's just not cool.
No,
I mean, it's not. It's just not funny anymore. I think society has started to figure that out. They just don't have don't have the patience for that, to be honest. So it's a bit frustrating. And just makes that person who is acting that way look really, just really stupid.
Yeah.
Just makes them look really ignorant,
Mm-hmm.
to be fair, and I just kind of feel bad for that person in general. I kind of put them in a category, based on their reaction to something, or if someone would say something like that. Not that it happens much, but if it did, you're kind of like, yeah, dude, it's just not right,
Mm-hmm.
So that would be my answer.
Yeah. It's a good answer. When was the first time you fell in love, and how did it happen?
Fell in love, probably. I mean, the first time, I guess, when you're a kid, you think like, the girl in 4th grade is, kicking your foot underneath the table, and you're a boy, so you're like, what are you doing? Why are you kicking me? And then, a year later, you're like, oh, she's, I like her, is that kind of that point where boys develop later, I guess, and then girls. But I'm probably my high school sweetheart. I had a girlfriend from freshman year of high school through junior year of high school. So yeah, probably then.
Yeah.
That was my which unfortunately we actually lost touch and aren't even in touch anymore. She's gone a different direction, but it was, I guess, what was supposed to happen at the time. So it's good.
So how did you meet your wife?
My wife and I met, interestingly enough. My wife went to high school with me, but we didn't date in high school. She was friends with my sister and ran in similar circles myself. I was a senior and they were freshmen, but we didn't really, interact too much. Fast forward to, I was living in New York City and my sister was visiting and looking to move there, and Pam was traveling for a work function, doing promotional marketing, experiential marketing, and she had her stay with me, or asked if she could stay at my place in New York City. So expensive, so I just said, yeah, crash on the couch, whatever. Of course, I know how that is. And my sister played matchmaker that night, and after a few drinks, she's screaming at Pam, "You're gonna be my sister!" And Pam is like, "You're nuts! You're nuts!" Yeah. She's like my sister's ultimate. She's the ultimate matchmaker, romantic, I guess you could say. So she put us together, and both of us were like, "Yeah, right, whatever." I'm just, I'm going this direction. I live in New York City, and I'm whatever. And she's just stopping by, and sure enough, we kept in touch, and and it was meant to be. We just, had a lot in common with travel, and we ended up traveling and working together for the first 4 years of our dating, and which was totally another era of great times, and really get to know somebody that really well. When you're working with them, and as far away as you and I are, in a van, in a car for 8 hours a day, and then setting up an event and working long hours, but we got along really well. Kind of knew we were the right one for each other, so yeah, it's a pretty good story.
I think Bill Murray said before you marry someone, you travel the world with them, so you get to see who they really are.
Yeah.
And if you come back from the trip
yeah, that's a good one. I didn't know that. Yeah, for sure. I mean, we traveled. It was funny. I tell the story to a lot of people, but she was actually, like I said, doing experiential marketing, so traveling around promoting different products. At the time, it was Verizon Wireless, and I had done graphic design for a company that does those types of promotions, and I was like, I always wanted to travel, and I can't. I'm spinning my wheels here in New York City. Maybe I'll try to do something like she. So she ended up getting me a job at her company at the time. It was the Schwan Food Company, which is, Red Baron Pizza. It was our frozen pizza.
Yeah.
So we drove around this converted truck that was a pizza oven. We went to air shows, and I would be cooking the pizzas in the back, and she'd be giving out the free samples, and we'd open up the window, and it was crazy. But I remember getting to the hotel, the first event, and we were sharing a room, of course, and we're going up the elevator, and I'm like, holy crap, I basically moved in with this girl who I've been dating long distance for 2 months.
Yeah.
And we're scheduled to do this for the next 8 months. And it was like literally 10 seconds. And once that elevator beat, like, bing, you're here. I'm like, okay, yeah, this is what I'm doing. You know, this is the direction I'm going. So I'm not, and I didn't look back after that. You know, we never actually stayed. We actually never even stayed in separate rooms, and we had the budget to do so a lot of times. Like, we just were like, nah, we'll just stay in the same room. And, you know, the only frustration was, like I said, her being a foodie, and this is well before, like, going, you know, jumping on your phone and going on Yelp and seeing what restaurant was good in town. Like, this is, you know, before that, you kind of had to ask somebody in the local bar and what they recommended.
Yeah.
Who knows if that shady restaurant around the corner is, you know, is worth trying or not. Sometimes we would learn the hard way, but yeah, we'd drive 8 hours across the country in the middle of nowhere, and I'm like, can we just go in that grocery store and like just get a sandwich and go to bed? And she's like, I think there's a whatever right over there. I could really go for this. I'm like, I don't want to keep driving. I just want to be done. You know, sometimes I just didn't want it. She always kind of was like, I'm craving this. Or I'm like, okay, then we'll drive another 45 minutes, even though 10 hours has been in the car all day. But, yeah, so it was, 4 years of traveling the country together. You definitely get to know somebody pretty well. So,
well, hopefully that happens to me.
Yeah, for sure.
And here's the opposite end of that question. When did you first have your heart broken? And how did you get over it?
I mean, the first heart broken was probably that same high school girlfriend. At the time, it was like, you know, I was always the guy who's like, we're not over, are we? You know, I was like the wimp, you know.
Yeah.
I was definitely the one who got stomped on, and she's like, look, man, this is basically over. Like, you can just, you know, looking back at it, you know, that's kind of what she was saying. And I was kind of like, well, you know, the little sad puppy dog, like, no, we're not over, we can make it work. And all this, like, no, we can't make it work anymore, you know. And I had to have a few more of those before, you know, found the right person, but definitely tried to make it work a lot of times, you know. You know what? It's just not working, man. You know, like, sometimes you get in that relationship thing and you just can't figure out a way out of it. You know, you just, this is the one. You know, we had such great times, and why don't we now? You know, and why can't we fix that? And you just have to know when to let it go and move on. But yeah, it was definitely. You know, I don't remember specifics, but I definitely remember being crushed. You know, and then I was like, you know, oh, cool, I'm going to be a senior and I'll be single and all this. But deep down, I really didn't want to be, you know. But, you know, took time to get over it. But it's pretty much a sad little puppy dog that senior year. Summer between junior and senior year high school, I think. Like, you know.
Come back.
She broke up. We're over.
It's over.
Suck it up, buddy. You know, like, yeah, it's pretty bad.
When did you last cry in front of another person? Or by yourself?
I almost cried right in front of you, didn't I? It was a little bit of tears. Cry? I cry every day. I mean, not every day. I probably cry 3 times a week. Yeah. 2-3 times a week now. Yeah. Yeah, I'm okay with it. I mean, just, it's mostly joy and appreciation.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Just happy, like, just usually just happy to be here, you know, and just like I said before, you just get appreciation for the small things and just being able to be a part of it, and every little thing, even if it's a bad thing, you can still be appreciative of being able to, you know, consider it a challenge that's been put in front of you for that instant or for that moment, and maybe for that part of your life, and you know, it's all for a reason. So like, okay, what is this supposed to be teaching me? Let's get through it, and you know, you're gonna figure it out, and just try and be positive as much as possible. You know, I remember we went to this luncheon down here it's called Go Red for Women. It was a fashion show and luncheon for American Heart Association, and they asked my wife to walk in the fashion show because she had, you know, was a woman of the movement per se, of the American Heart Movement, and most of the women actually had heart-related issues, so they would talk about them as they walked out and what they were wearing. It wasn't really about what they were wearing; it was all about their story.
Yeah.
And I remember the woman in front of me. We were waiting behind the curtain to go out on the stage. I mean, there's maybe 150 people in chairs and whatever. And used to be nervous in those situations, but I said, man, don't be nervous. You can't make a mistake. You're alive. You lived through your disease, your story. You're here to tell your story. You've made it. You've survived. Like, no one's gonna be, you can't make a mistake.
And this is nowhere near the worst thing you
yeah,
through.
Exactly. I mean, I don't remember her specific story, but I remember her being so nervous in front of us. I was like, don't worry. I mean, you're not. Even if you fall, no one's gonna laugh at you. No one's gonna make fun of you. They'll feel bad for you, and you'll just get up and make a joke out of it. Is what I would do. But I think it helped her a little bit. But just kind of like, do the best you can, and try to live your life to the fullest, and be the best person you can. Things will work out.
That's true. That's all you can do is just live a good life.
Yeah.
Talking about, it's a good way, it's a good question to follow up with. What's the most embarrassing moment in your life?
Most embarrassing moment. I mean, you should have sent these in before. I would have had more time to think about it.
Only reason why I don't give these people questions because I want them to be spontaneous and actually put them on the spot.
Of course. Trying to think how. Well, I don't embarrass much lately, like you said. Like, I just don't. It doesn't. If I were to have an what someone might coin an embarrassing situation now, I'm just kind of like, hey, it happened. Life happens. Like,
brush it off.
Yeah. Now, I mean, that's not. I definitely was embarrassed a lot of times as a kid, but I'm just trying to think, like, most embarrassing moment. I think I have, like, overactive sweat glands, and when you sweat a lot, you just continually think about sweating. And I think I was, like, in a spelling bee in, like, high school, elementary school or something, and I was wearing one of those, like, a blue shirt, and I, like, literally sweat through it. And there's been plenty of times where I know that I'm overly sweating, and it's just like, oh, you're so sweaty, that's so gross. And of course, when some girl who you're probably interested in talking to is telling you that you're gross and sweaty, that doesn't help you from stopping sweating, right? Like, it's just worse, right? Yeah. I mean, it's funny that as you say that, like, even on my wedding day, now that I think about it, I actually was nervous, but of course, but we were in Jamaica, and I was just wearing, like a linen shirt. I wanted to look, nice, but I went long sleeve, and I had, like, linen pants on, but it was hot. I mean, it was really hot, and I was just roasting through the shirt, and normally I've been so nervous and whatever, but Pam knows that's what you're getting, like that's who I am. And even walking down the aisle, my buddy Derek's like, oh, that's it. What did he say? He said something about who brought the sweaty guy or something, like, and my back, like, literally my shirt was stuck to my back, like, because there just was no breeze, and it was just it was right, the sun was coming right in. We had no shade, and I was just kind of up there waiting for her. I'm like, oh my god. And instead of just being like that, I remember, like, pointing to my back and, like, just being like, thumbs up, just like, hey. And like 50 people came to our to our wedding in 3 months notice, and they all really liked me. Like, it's okay, they're not gonna they know I sweat, like, they've all been there,
and it's all in the back, so
yeah so it's a clean sweat though, so but yeah, it'd definitely be sweating. That's always been my nemesis.
I sweat a lot too. Actually, it came in handy back in high school because I did wrestling.
Oh, there you go.
Like, so that was like a self-defense mechanism. Like, they'd try to grab my arm, like, it slipped off.
Yeah, for sure.
But I get the same way. I get embarrassed too. Especially, like, walking around, like, down here in the Florida heat and the humidity.
Oh yeah.
I think there's a couple of times I went on dates and just get a little nervous, and plus with the heat, I get the back sweat, I get the chest sweat.
Oh yeah, it's hard.
Yeah,
it's hard in this climate. I remember in college going summer school at the University of Florida, and I would wear a t-shirt and I would bring another one to class. Because by the time I got to class, I had to like go to the bathroom and change shirts because I was like soaked through it. And then you're sitting in the air conditioning, just like freezing, soaking wet and freezing. So it's not a good look.
Hi.
It's okay.
The missus just walked in.
The missus is here. Yeah,
That's okay. Don't worry about it.
it's okay. How was your night?
Fine.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Good, good. Got a toy.
So you can sit down.
Getting a toy from Tiago.
Well, we're almost done. Probably another few questions, but she can sit
Okay.
down and listen to it.
Okay. Yeah.
She can pull up a drink too.
There you
Get a
go.
drink for herself.
Yeah.
Alright. Alright. Now, I think we may have answered this question, but I might ask it again. What was the most terrifying moment in your life?
Yeah. I mean, obviously,
It's the-
cardiac
yeah,
arrest.
cardiac,
Yeah,
yeah.
that was by far my most terrifying moment for sure. I mean, just not knowing it. You know, it's still kind of terrifying not knowing. You know, if it could happen again. Luckily, I know that the device works, so that's kind of a relief. But yeah, some terror kind of every day if you really think about it.
Yeah.
I mean, you just don't know, and you don't know if you're gonna react exactly the same way as you did last time. And you know, I fell down in a sand trap. Luckily, I was not on asphalt, or I wasn't driving, or I wasn't on
Yeah.
a bicycle. All those things, I actually couldn't drive for 6 months afterwards. So they say, it's supposed to, legally not really supposed to. But who's to say it could happen, doing that another time.
Mhm.
So if you think they worry about that the whole time, you'd really go make yourself crazy. But yeah, I guess I live with some of that terror, I guess.
Yeah. Honestly, I can't really imagine how that feels. Like knowing that you have a little piece of machine in you that it's a good thing it's in there. Like it's a
Absolutely.
great thing it's in there.
Yeah, no, it
But
is.
that's your lifesaver.
No, it is. It's
Yeah.
not fail safe. I didn't, and the doctor's like, you really should have this device because you're highly, it's highly possible that this could happen again. You're young. It's already happened.
Mhm.
Like, you're high risk.
Yeah.
So you should have this. And it's like no question. I mean, it's just, all right, what surgery are we doing today? And I've talked to survivors since that, really were worried about it. And should I get this done? And it's like, man, trust me, get it done. Like it's 6 weeks without being able to move your shoulder, and having to let the muscle heal.
Yeah.
It's not worth. It's worth not having to.
The bigger picture is like,
Yeah.
hey, no, it's
Just the
completely beneficial.
yeah, because it's gonna do its job and it's gonna work. So, which it has for me. So, very lucky. Yeah.
Okay. What are your deepest held beliefs?
My deepest held beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
Well, like I said, I think everything happens for a reason. That's first and foremost. Beliefs, typical values of your everyday person. I think.
Yeah.
Treat everyone the same, equal. Those types of things. Just the typical family values that we grew up with as kids here in this country. So yeah, I don't think it's anything different there. Deepest held values, deepest held beliefs. Just treat everyone with respect. Kind of what I feel is the best thing, and maybe judged accordingly, I guess. I don't really worry about what God's gonna say at the gate, that kind of thing. But,
Yeah.
is it gonna be, hey, live your life as best as you could and treat people with respect and try to
Yeah.
do your best. all you can really ask for.
Yeah, this people make mistakes. You're gonna make mistakes, and do the best you can.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, learning that mistakes are part of learning, you know, and the more you're actually helpful, you know, you just have to go with it and learn from each thing that happens if you can. So,
All right. Have you ever had a spiritual or profound experience?
this whole conversation, yeah. I mean, the incident that that happened, just for sure. You know, there's spirituality in that, left and right. You know, with someone praying for you and
Yeah. There's all the right factors. It was perfect for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I do, you know, like I said, I'm not the most religious, but I've become very spiritual and very aware of you know, how things happen, why they happen, and you know, all those people that were in those situations to be able to save my life or put there for a reason at that certain time. I mean, all those things, you know, pinpointed and worked exactly as if, you know, I mean, same thing as you being in the yoga class when I'm in the same class, and us doing this interview. Maybe someone will watch this and decide, listen to this and go do something great for whatever cause they believe in, if it's CPR or, you know, anything related, anything related to that, or just be more aware of those situations and save somebody, help somebody, you know, hopefully that's, you know, like I said, I wouldn't want to normally do this in not a front of the line kind of guy, but if it helps one more person, you know, become aware and learn, then it's well worth it.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping out these podcasts. It's a twofold goal. I want to teach people that everyone has a story to tell. I think there's a great. Have you ever watched the show Mad Men?
Parts of it. Yeah.
It's I'm gonna butcher this quote, but Don Draper, the main character show, he said that everyone you meet has 1,000 reasons to be there. Just ask. And I think some people just forget about life. Like, the stranger right next to you may have an amazing story, but sometimes we're too focused on our phones, and then we have real issues like work or the bills.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just need to step back and just ask.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's your story? Because then, like, you might, like someone like you, like someone might hear your story, and like, man, I should get my heart checked, or maybe I should go get CPR, get my kid learn CPR.
Yeah, no, I mean that's definitely true. I know it's very true about people's stories, and yeah, I just hope that people are conscious of themselves and how they feel. I mean, you know, Bob Harper is the celebrity trainer for the Biggest Loser. He had a cardiac arrest, you know, this past maybe less than 6 months ago, and that guy's like the fittest man in the world. So if that can happen to him, I mean, you just have to be conscious of your body and know how you're feeling. If you're not feeling like yourself, you know, don't be afraid to go get checked out and go talk to the doctor, go to the emergency room and say, why do I feel this way? This isn't normally how I feel, you know. So I think it's important to kind of know yourself, you know, physically and mentally and spiritually as well, but you know, the physical part for the medical part is important.
Is there something that you dreamed of doing for a long time, and if you haven't done it, then why have you done it?
Dreamed of doing,
like something on top of your bucket list, something wild, something crazy.
Probably be like, I mean, we like traveling. We always have a trip planned, or we try to have a trip planned. So right now we don't, so I'm like a little bit anxious, you know, and Pam knows that right now. I'm like, all right, we'll figure it out. I guess maybe like some more a little bit more extreme type of activities. Maybe push my body a little bit more.
Yeah.
I did a it's like a Avon breast cancer walk. It's like a 3-day breast cancer walk back in when I lived in Boston.
Yeah.
And it was like, I think it's like 60 miles. Like walk like 20 miles a day. And the second day it was so cold. This was in May, which is was really not, people were not ready for it. They actually canceled the third day.
Mm-hmm.
And they stopped us like halfway on the second day, and like bumped us up in this gym in the middle of nowhere in this high school or whatever. But the point is that I remember thinking, the whole point was for charity, right? Like,
yeah.
We're trying to raise money, like, don't hurt yourself. It's not worth it. But there was a point where there was people that were just going to go for it, and I wanted to too. And then I just kind of like let my conscience realize that it's not the smartest, and
yeah,
just it's not worth it. But I wanted to physically push myself more. So I guess I would say that there's some whether it's climbing a huge mountain, that I probably wish I would have done that in Colorado. We never really like climbed a 14er, the way we could have, that kind of thing. So probably maybe a little bit more extreme type stuff, but I don't know if that's in the cards nowadays. I mean, it doesn't. I mean, I've been told by doctors say that's not a, can still scuba dive up to 300 feet and that kind of thing, and altitude's fine, those kind of things. So I don't really have any restrictions, but I don't know. Just have. I think as you get older, you just get a little more self-conscious of what the how you could be injured. When you think about.
I don't want to say self-conscious. I think you're more wiser about it.
Yeah. No,
it's like I'm not that young anymore.
Yeah. No, I think it's true. So I just want to make sure. Maybe I don't need the extreme, but I'll push myself a little bit more. Maybe do a longer distance type thing.
Yeah.
I did one triathlon. I used to work in triathlon. I did a very short one. So it wasn't.
Was it like the? Cause I thought about doing it once. I looked it up. It was was it like a mile run or something?
Yeah, this was a sprint triathlon, so it was actually an off-road sprint triathlon.
Oh, okay.
So that was a lot of fun. We lived in Colorado. We could do, it was a lake swim, and then a trail ride, and then a mountain, like a run through the woods. So, but it was short distance, but it was still, to train for that and then to finish that goal would be kind of was cool. It was rewarding, even though it was, rainy and freezing, but still a rewarding experience for sure. So do some more of those types of things. Set those goals and do those. That would be direction I like to go.
Okay. Do you have any regrets, and if you could change anything about, would you do it?
I mean, I don't have any regrets. I still feel like I'm young enough to be able to do a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, I think a lot in life, whether that's for other people or just in general, have a good time. And no regrets. Mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes, but you get to. You hopefully learn from them and get to where you are because of them, or you learn from them at a later time, like wondering why you might have done a certain thing, and you hopefully can learn from it going forward. So I think I won't say I have any regrets, really.
That's a good way to look.
Yeah. I mean, I think maybe if I was in the medical field, I just was not very good at science once I got into college. I mean, I really liked physical therapy. I thought I wanted to go that direction in the medical world, and I just didn't, I was just really bad. I had bad science teachers in high school, and so maybe it kind of put me behind the 8 ball going into college, and like I just was not good at, chemistry and those types of things. I wasn't grasping it, and I'm thinking, this is, basic chemistry. It's pretty hard for me, and I'm not enjoying it. I'm not picking it up. So if it's not, and I got to get to organic. I got the path to get to where I'm looking at is just too.
You just held back, basically.
Yeah, I'm just not gonna make it. So I end up going another direction. But yeah, I mean, I think part of all of this and helping lifeguards and the heart stuff and being around that medical stuff is made me realize that's really helping people has always been something that I wanted to do and be a part of, and I think that was why.
This is kind of like your way of doing it.
Yeah, I think that's actually a good point. I think that really is true because, sports are fun, but if you're working for professional sports, it's not that. It's great, and we do a lot for charity. And you don't see it every day. You're not a part of that every day, and being able to help kids and teach them CPR and get people more aware of all those things, and that's important. So for me, it's that so I guess that's
basically the way I kind of see it. Like you kind of came full circle. Like you didn't do the medical field, but now you're part of it in a way now.
Yeah,
and you're doing your part for
it.
Yeah, in a way
true.
You can.
It's true, and it's. I still thought of like how else could I, how could I work? I mean, I think I interviewed at Zoll after it happened. They had like a rep job where you traveled around. I mean, you're driving all over your car, going to fire stations and EMTs and trying to sell them your product, and which is the product that saved my life. So it was kind of like, oh, that'd be a perfect fit, but I think it wasn't the right type of job for me. So I think it's just kind of searching, still trying to search like what's my role within helping people in the medical world. It's always really been something I've been passionate about or think was important. What does that look like for me? Even now and going forward. So I think it's the story's still writing itself.
Yeah, and you saying that. I mean, with your experience, what happened, and plus your marketing experience, your background, like, I think at some point it's actually going to grow from those two things. Like, those two worlds are going to meet.
Yeah, merge those two worlds, exactly. Yeah, and what that looks like, we'll see. But, I agree. Hopefully, it'll keep evolving. Keep having more incidences where we're letting people know things, and my story was in the paper, and someone from the Sudden Cardiac Arrest Association, the executive director, reached out to me and said she read the story and wanted to know more about me and see if we could somehow work together. So maybe something will come up from that, and just kind of make more contacts and try to build a network. I feel like I've always been kind of a connector type person. Like I'm the guy that would say, "Oh, you're looking for this type of job? Well, I know somebody who works in that field. Let me connect you." I've always felt like that was the right thing to do, and it's paid off and helped people get jobs. But even in general, just to connecting different ideas with different people and different times, it's kind of been. I've enjoyed doing that my whole life, so we shall see. More to come, I'm sure. Yeah.
What is your most treasured memory?
My most treasured memory is my wedding. My wedding was my most treasured memory. Yeah, it's a great day.
You're not saying it because she's in the other room, right?
No. No. Well, she'd hear it anyways, right?
Yeah.
No, that was an awesome day. I mean, such a beautiful. It was great. I mean, everything just aligned. You couldn't keep the grin off my face. So it was a good day. And if sometimes I get nervous, I talk a lot, like talk too fast and stuff. And I was like chatty that day. I had to like kind of calm myself down. But yeah, definitely my most treasured memory for sure. It's a great day. Even though it rained a little bit during the ceremony or right after the ceremony, but yeah, it's all good. and I was sweating like crazy, like I said. But
well, it's Jamaica.
you know,
If you're not
Jamaica.
sweating, then there's something wrong with you.
Yeah, you got problems. Exactly. It's fitting in, you know. So yeah, that was definitely my wedding day for sure.
What roles does love and affection play in your life?
Love and affection, well, it plays a role every day. I'm a attention seeker when it comes to affection. I need that from my wife. She knows that I'm the one who needs the physical love, so I'm always going for the hugs and affection. So yeah, it's very important, but in all components, so you know, all parts of your life, family, and you know, your work life, your other aspects of your life too, you know, that are important. You gotta feel like you're loved in different capacities. So I mean, it's constantly part of my life and important. So always, for sure.
Okay. And this is gonna be the last question because we have about like 2 hours and 8 minutes.
Oh my god.
It's good. Like, I'm happy we did this.
That's good.
It's actually a two-part question. What's the worst thing have you ever done, and what's the best thing you ever done?
The worst thing I've ever done. I'd probably say just as a kid, stealing petty things. I mean, like
yeah.
baseball cards and crap like that I shouldn't have ever done, but at the time did. Worst thing I've ever done, I don't think. Not much worse than that. I mean, I've never, you know, committed any major crimes or anything.
That we know of.
That we know of, yeah. That I got caught from? No. I mean, that's probably it. But the best thing?
Yeah.
I think what I'm doing now is really rewarding, you know. I mean, I think just in general, the mindset that I have with, you know, the advocacy, it's rewarding, and it's work. I mean, it's definitely another job, but it's good. I mean, it's makes you feel like it's working in the right direction, and I'm helping people in general, which is something that I feel like was probably really missing in my life, you know, for a long time, where I was rewarding myself for, you know, my education or my job growth or advancement, and now I like to keep that, but also, you know, really help others and work on that part of my life to, just become, you know, important to me. So I'd say that's kind of the best thing that's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, for all circles back for you there, Frank. Yeah.
It's kind
of my underlying theme, you know.
Well, usually when tragedy usually spawns something good.
Yeah, it's very true. I mean, it's always sad when you hear about something that's horribly that happens, but, you know, I think of the Boston, you know, the marathon bombing, and how we hadn't been there in 6 years, well before that, and we were just there, and Boston Strong t-shirts are still everywhere, and people are just very proud, and yeah, it's very true to tragedy. You can build on it, so hopefully that's hopefully the direction we're going, you know. I mean, and if awareness, you know, if someone was able to hear this and be able to, you know, become better in general, then that's the goal. Yeah.
So, all thing you have to do is just touch one person's life.
Yeah.
And you did something great.
Yeah. No, it's true. It's true. Hopefully we're doing that every day.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you are, because
trying.
That's actually good, because what you said is true. especially the training experience I had. I had to do CPR a couple of times when I was a police officer, and well, it's scary. I mean, scary in my situation, and it's also scary for the family situation. But now thinking about what you just, we just talked about, it'd be so beneficial if like one of the kids knew it, or the mother or the father knew it.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, and nowadays, like I don't even know if they want you to get certified and go take a class, but even some of the doctors and nurse practitioners at Mayo are just saying, call 911 and press hard and fast and hands only CPR. It's you don't really need a class. It'd be good to say you're certified, of course, but it's pretty obvious what you need to do, and just get in there and do it, because a person in that in a state like that is not, you can't hurt someone like that. They're basically dead, so you're just helping them, hopefully keeping their blood flowing until they can get somebody there to get them back to normal. So
sure. Well, thank you for your time.
Yeah, no problem.
I really appreciate you that you came out, and I came out to you, but you opened up.
Yeah, no, I know it's not easy, but it's definitely worth it. Like I said, we're trying to keep it topical and make it more common. When I was saying, that guy, the Zoll rep was saying, it's like AED should be as common as fire extinguishers, right?
Yeah.
Like you should be able to see, AED, and go pick it up and use it instead. People with fire extinguishers, if the fire's right next to you, you're gonna go break the glass and you're gonna go grab the fire extinguisher.
Yeah.
You're not gonna think twice about it, right? Well, I don't think society is at that point with AEDs, so that's there's work to be done, in my mind. And
we're coming to a point too where firefighting is decreasing, and probably I'll be increasing, like some type of medical technology.
Yeah.
Something more than just a first aid kit.
Yeah, absolutely. So, great. Well, thanks for having me, Frank. I appreciate it.
Thanks for telling your story.
Absolutely.
All right,
nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you too. We're going to end it now. All right, guys, that's the end of our episode. I want to thank Mr. J.R. Bourne. It was a very, very great story he told, very deep. And I want to thank let me make sure I got this right. I want to thank personally the Jacksonville Beach Volunteer Life-Saving Corps for their work every summer at Jacksonville Beach, and for them saving Mr. J.R. Bourne and being properly trained to handle this kind of first aid situations. And, well, who else I got to thank? I got to thank Purple Planet Music for the intro and outro music. I get the music for free, along as I mention them somewhere in the podcast. So thanks again, and you guys have a wonderful day.